everybody, this is Naz, and today I'm working on gouache painting, and it's of two glowing mushrooms. And the reason why I wanted to do glowing mushrooms was they're just kind of like a visual motif that immediately just makes everything more fantasy-like. And I thought it was kind of funny that you can just add mushrooms to something and it automatically looks ethereal and magical. So I made a list of random things that, like, visual motifs that really inspire me and, like, just make me feel really satisfied inside. And I guess, this is just things which inspire me, and it's kind of things which I want to include later on in my artworks. So some of these things, like, there were things just, like, which were more general, like underwater things or outer space. And for them, it just feels magical and ethereal just because we know so little about them. Like, especially the underwater one. But then there's other things like snails as well. I don't know, I have a thing with snails. I've been drawing a lot of snails lately. And also, what else? Bubbles, jellyfish, honeycomb. I think those were the main things on my list. So anyway, that I found that kind of interesting, and I just like having a list of motifs that I can go to if I need to just like have some really quick inspiration, I guess. But anyway, throughout this, because the mushrooms were glowing, and I've really recently started with gouache, I really wanted to do like a really nice gradient effect, and because gouache is such like a kind of very flat paint. If you've never seen or used gouache before, it's a bit like a halfway point between acrylic paint, which is really, watercolor paint, not acrylic, which is really watery and kind of flowy. It's very elegant, and it's basically just a paint which it's water based, so you apply it with water and you can do a lot of effects like that. And it's a halfway point between that and acrylic paint, which is quite thick. It's like you use it on canvases. It's reasonably slow. Well, in the grand scheme of things, it's fast, but compared to it's a bit more slow drying. It's thick, and you layer it very thickly. So gouache is kind of like a halfway point for that. It's probably a more recent like sort of paint than say oil or acrylic. But yeah, and the reason I like it is it's so flat and graphical, but it has so much potential as well because of its kind of similarities to watercolor. It means you can really like mix it with water and make it blend, and that's not something I've tried before because everything else I've done in gouache so far has been many like flat washes put together, which I quite like as well. But I really wanted to get this glowing effect, so I started with just putting two different colours next to each other and going, okay, well if I put water between them, hopefully they'll mix. And that didn't really happen. It looked really patchy, so I don't exactly know what I did. I just kind of built up the layers until I got something I was happy with. But then the point where it really became satisfying for me, I had this like light blue to dark blue wash, and then I added like some kind of blackish purple over the top, and because I wanted to blend it in, I just added like a whole lot of water to it, and it just automatically kind of just spread out, and I didn't even have to do any like really manual blending, and it just looked it was just so satisfying to watch, and you should be able to see that on the time lapse. So then that was a really cool technique that I could experiment with. I also found that when I was working on the lighter areas, I could also put some water on my brush and then lift off some of the paint, and that would like kind of highlight it a little bit, which I found was pretty cool. And then I've kind of come up with this thing when I'm doing colours, because I've actually not worked with colours very much before. Like in my past, I've kind of done a lot of pen work and pencil work, and I've kind of dabbled in colour pencil and watercolour as well, but I wasn't that attracted to it. So, I've really been loving working with this gouache, but one of the challenges is that I don't have very much experience with colour. But I found this sort of thing that works really well for me. so basically I had a blue background and I wanted a kind of redder foreground. So what I did was I mixed in a little bit of the blues I had in the background with my crimson colours, and that made it kind of unified, and it's a really nice effect. You can't really tell looking at it, but if I made another one which I didn't mix the two colours, I feel like it would look really different and might be a bit more like clashy, I guess. If you're new to my channel, by the way, which you probably are because let's face it, I don't really have that much of an audience yet. I'm still working on that. You might notice on the side, I've got a little painting of a rabbit. That was in my last video, which if you like the rabbit painting, you might want to check out. Most of my videos are kind of a really rambly style. I don't really script anything beforehand, which may or may not be a good thing because I'm quite camera shy and kind of a bit of an awkward speaker. I do tend to stammer quite a lot. Anyway, another thing about mushrooms recently, I've had kind of a craze, as I've already mentioned, but I went to see Art Express recently, and that's like, it's kind of this exhibition that's nationwide across Australia, and it exhibits the Year 12 students' HSC art, like the best selection of HSC artworks, and I really like going there because I honestly enjoy. It's probably one of my favorite exhibitions to watch, partially because I relate to it because I am a high school student, and it's like, if I look at professional artists, it's really daunting, but looking at this, it's almost like it's something that's achievable, and I know I'm going to be doing this sort of thing in the next couple of years, because I'm currently in year 10, so that's 2 years away for me, really. And it's partially scary, but partially extremely exhilarating at the same time. But I digress. There was this artwork there, and it was these beautiful, really intricate, detailed plant studies. There was a strawberry bush, there was a sunflower, and there was a fern of some sort, and there was also these mushrooms, and they were all carved out of polystyrene cups. I don't know how they did it, because like they were solid as well, so I reckon they probably melted it down. But that was my favorite thing in the exhibition, and that's kind of what kicked off my mushroom. Well, it didn't really kick it off, but like it was part of my kind of mushroom craze thing. So that's really why I wanted to paint this. Anyway, so I really enjoyed working on this painting. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for putting up with my ramblings, and hopefully I'll see you in another video sometime. Thank you.